There is a strip of water on this planet that is just 33 miles wide at its narrowest point. It has no army of its own, no flag, no elected government. And yet, right now, it is holding the entire world economy hostage. Your petrol prices, your electricity bill, your grocery costs, the price of everything you buy, controlled in large part by what happens in this one narrow, almost invisible corridor of water. It's called the Strait of Hormuz, and in February 2026, it closed. Welcome to the Silent World Decoded. This is the story they're not fully explaining on the news. Most people couldn't point to the Strait of Hormuz on a map. That's exactly the problem. Because this tiny strip of water sitting between Iran and Oman is the single most important economic choke point on the planet. Every single day before the crisis, roughly 20 million barrels of oil passed through it. That's 1/5 of all the oil the entire world consumes, every single day. But it's not just oil. 1/4 of the world's liquefied natural gas flows through here, most of it headed to Japan, South Korea, China, and India. Methanol, aluminum, sulfur, graphite, fertilizers, the minerals that power your smartphone, the chemicals that grow your food, all of it funneled through a corridor so narrow that in some places, ships can almost see both shorelines at once. Now here's the part nobody talks about. There is almost no alternative route. Saudi Arabia has a small pipeline that bypasses the strait, but it can only carry a fraction of the volume. The UAE has one port, Fujairah, that sits outside the strait, but even that was targeted by Iranian missiles during this crisis. The world built a global economy with a single point of failure, and in 2026, that failure arrived. On February 28, 2026, Israel and the United States launched a military operation against Iran. The stated goal: destroy Iran's nuclear program and take down its leadership. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, killed in the strikes. Within days, Iran's Revolutionary Guard made a declaration that sent shockwaves through every financial market on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Any vessel attempting to pass would be dealt with. Within weeks, Brent crude, the global oil benchmark, had surged 65%. It crossed $100 per barrel, then $114. Stock markets opened lower. Shipping insurance costs exploded overnight. Countries that had never even heard of the Strait of Hormuz were suddenly watching their currencies collapse and their fuel prices spiral. Iraq curtailed oil production. Their storage was filling up with nowhere to export. Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, all effectively locked in. And here's what really hit hard. 80% of the oil that passes through the strait goes to Asia, China, Japan, South Korea, India. These are the world's manufacturing engines. When their energy supply gets strangled, your products get more expensive, your supply chains break down, and that shock ripples back to every economy on Earth, including yours. Now here's the moment that almost nobody covered properly. By early April, negotiations were going nowhere. Iran was defiant. On the streets of Tehran, posters celebrated Iran's stranglehold on the strait. Iran's chief negotiator publicly warned, "We have not even begun yet." Then, on April 7th, Donald Trump posted a message online that stopped the world. He warned, and I'm paraphrasing, that an entire civilization could be wiped out tonight if Iran did not comply. He set a deadline, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. After that, Iran's power plants, its bridges, its infrastructure, gone. With less than 90 minutes to go, Trump posted again. He had agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. Iran had agreed to reopen the strait. Pakistan had reportedly mediated the deal. Within hours of that announcement, oil prices crashed 16%. Global stock markets surged. The world exhaled. But here's the thing nobody is saying loudly enough. The strait is not fully open. A conditional ceasefire is in place. Ships can attempt passage, but they must coordinate with Iran's armed forces, and almost no shipping company is willing to take that risk. As of right now, it remains, in practical terms, effectively closed. So let's talk about what this actually means for regular people. Because this isn't just an oil story. The Kiel Institute, one of Europe's top economic research bodies, ran the numbers. If the Saudi Arabian pipeline also gets disrupted, global energy prices rise by over 10%. Global food prices, not oil, food, rise by 5%. Why food? Because fertilizers are made from natural gas, and a quarter of the world's liquefied natural gas is still not flowing normally. The countries hit hardest right now. Jordan has lost over 6% of its GDP, Lebanon over 6%, Singapore 5.4%, Egypt, Bangladesh, South Asian and African nations that depend entirely on imported fuel. These are countries where people spend most of their income on food and fuel. A 5% rise in food prices doesn't mean you order less takeaway, it means families go hungry. And at the macro level, the Dallas Federal Reserve estimated this shock could cut global GDP growth by nearly 3 percentage points in Q2 2026 alone. This is already being called the largest oil supply disruption since the 1973 Arab oil ambush, and most people still think it's just a war in the Middle East. Right now, as of this week, the US and Iran are working on a deal, a 60-day ceasefire extension, the strait to be demined and fully reopened, US blockade on Iranian ports lifted, nuclear talks to begin. But Iran is still defiant. The UAE was still being attacked by Iranian missiles as recently as last month. China and Russia vetoed a UN resolution to guarantee safe passage through the strait. Goldman Sachs warned that high oil prices could last through 2027, even if a deal is reached. Because here's the deeper truth. The world's spare oil production capacity is nearly zero. The US, Canada, and Brazil can marginally increase output, but nobody can replace 15 to 20 million barrels a day. The Strait of Hormuz cannot be replicated. It cannot be routed around. And it has just shown the entire world how fragile the invisible architecture of global trade really is. This is what the Silent World Decoded is here for. Not to tell you what you already know, but to show you the mechanisms underneath, the invisible systems that shape your life without ever announcing themselves. A 33-mile strip of water. Nobody elected it, nobody governs it, and the whole world depends on it. Think about that next time you fill your tank. If this opened your eyes, subscribe. Drop a comment telling me what hidden system do you want decoded next. I'll see you in the next one.